I'm Martha Garrett. I'm glad you are here to have a short practice with me via this video. The practice that I'm going to offer today is just like a warm-up, and you might find that after doing it, you're inspired to move on and do your own practice afterwards. So we'll start just sitting cross-legged. So choose any comfortable cross-legged position. Do support your knees in some way, especially if they're high. You can just use your feet, otherwise they make good knee support. So lifting up through the low belly and broadening the space between the collarbones. We'll start with a twist. So we'll be twisting to the left first. Take your left arm behind you and open the shoulder. Take the right arm and place it to the outside of your right thigh. Lift up and turn. As you're turning, the left waist moves back, but the right waist also moves in and up back because that is what's supporting the spine. Both sides of the waist have to work. Lengthening on inhale and twisting on exhale. Keep your left hand behind you and swing the right arm around to be with the left. Bring the left arm forward and place it to the outside of your right thigh. Inhale, lift up, and exhale and twist. As the right waist moves to the right, the left waist moves back to the left. Inhale, lift up, and exhale and turn. Keep the shoulders relaxed as you're twisting. Use the arms, but more importantly, use the muscles around the core. Okay, taking another breath. Keep the right arm behind you. Swing the left arm back and place both hands behind you. So from the side, it is this. So I'm on my fingertips. Lift the breastbone up. Roll the shoulders back and then bend the elbows slightly. Keeping everything uplifted here. This is a tiny upper back bend with the arms as support. Great for the shoulders. Very good for pain around the upper back as well. Taking another breath. And release. And we'll turn. I'm going to turn back around this way for shoulder rolls, which I hardly miss a day of shoulder rolls. So using your breath to move through these simple rotations of your shoulder. Noticing where you feel tightness. Or if you feel tightness. Release, let's go the other way. Keeping the breath smooth and even. And release. I changed the cross of my legs, so change the cross of your legs now. Take the arms up with the palms up. And now taking the right arm down to the floor, raise the left arm up by your ear and extend through your left side. Side stretch. And back to center, palms up, and then taking the left arm down and reach through the right arm. And back to center and release the arms. I'm going to come off my blanket support now. And line, this would be my right thigh. Line my right thigh up with the end of my mat. take the left leg, and you can either just fold your legs one on top of the other like this, which is nice, or you can move the knee to the inside of your foot like that. And the back leg, you can pull into what is almost a hero's pose, or close to a hero's pose. So I'll show on the other side, but let me show you right here. It looks like this, yeah? So, once you get the legs set up, take a deep breath and turn away from your feet. Roll the flesh around the hip underneath you, and then walk the hands out. You can stay here, or you can slowly lower yourself to the floor. And you want to stay with the arms lined up with like my right elbow is lining up with my right hip, my left elbow with the center of my thigh. So you're not here, you could be here, but the goal, if you want to have one, is to get yourself lined up over the end of your mat so that your elbows line up with the hip and the center of your thigh. And keeping the breath steady. This twist is not passive, but it's one where you kind of hang out for a minute. And then to come out, just lifting up, take the back leg out of the pose, and switch the legs to the other side. Again, just stacking the legs like this, very comfy, or move the top leg back and catch the top of your knee or the very beginning of your thigh to the foot. Then you turn away from your legs, lift up, roll the flesh underneath, and then just walk the hands out a little bit. And then pause. And maybe taking yourself down to the elbows. Lining up. This would be my left elbow with my left hip, my right elbow with the center of my thigh. And using the breath here more as not a way to deepen the twist, but as a way to smooth out the sensations of the twist. So let the breath be even and smooth. And then coming out, walk your hands back leg comes out, and there you go. So we'll move now into Vajrasana, which is similar to Vajrasana, the hero's pose. Thunderbolt pose, you actually are sitting on your heels, right? And so I'm going to put this blanket here because it makes everything better. So sitting here in Vajrasana, feeling the opening around the backs of the knees, feeling my weight pressing onto the tops of my feet, because the feet don't always acclimate to this right away, so you need to take a little bit of time here, particularly if you're prone to foot cramps. Then we move from Vajrasana into toes under. So this is getting the stretch in the other direction for your toes. And it's great for those of us who have any kind of tendency toward bunions. This is a good one for stretching those muscles out and keeping the toes a little more spread and lively. I can't be in this one for very long. And from here, we're going to move into Malasana. And for Malasana, I'm going to keep the blanket right there, tucked underneath my knees. And it keeps a nice, it's got a nice settling feeling. Without the blanket, I can do the pose, but my pelvis doesn't feel as settled or supported in the posture. The next bit is to draw the arms to the inside of the legs, maybe, and make sure that the shoulders are able to open, so there's a little press outward into the hands. And then from here, taking the blanket away, placing the hands on the floor, and then lifting up into a standing forward bend. Separating the feet a little bit, and I'm not quite straightening my legs because I haven't done anything to wake up the hamstrings yet, so I'm just going to pause here and let the backs of the legs open up after that squat. And then coming up on an inhale, and we'll stand in Tadasana. So from here, this is the half sun salute, which is one that I do frequently. And it's a great way to just get moving with the breath. It can be very inspirational toward taking you into standing postures. So grounding through the big toe mound, the pinky side of your foot, inner and outer heel, lifting up the inner arches, taking the tops of the thighs back, lifting the low belly, opening the chest, keeping the arms relaxed and the chin level with the floor, mountain pose. Bring the hands into Namaskarasana. A little pressure here, and then taking the hands low, getting a wrist stretch, and then opening up, taking them out to the sides and overhead. Inhale, folding on an exhale. And again, I'm going to bend my knees just a teeny bit. With your inhalation, lift up into a long frontal spine, so feeling from the pubic bone to the breastbone, a long straight line. Bend the knees and drop down into a deep fold. Let the weight of the head hang. And now take the hands to the calf muscles. Press into them and start to lift the buttock bones toward the ceiling as you keep your belly snug to your thighs. So you may straighten your legs, maybe not. You have to just wait and see what's going to happen and not force anything. And then with your next inhalation, lifting up, arms overhead, palms together, down the midline. And again, press into the palms, take them low for a wrist stretch. And then out to the sides and up, folding, exhale. On the second go around, it's a little easier to fold into the forward bend. With your next inhale, lift from the spine and lengthen from the tailbone to the breastbone. Exhale, bend the knees. Let the weight of the upper body be supported by the thighs. Fold over. Let all of the effort in the neck and shoulders go. And then begin to slowly straighten the legs any amount as you press into the backs of the calves. So what happens when you press into the backs of the calves is it signals these muscles to work a little harder, because this is like a support system for your calves. If you're tight in the calves, this is a great way to do Uttanasana. And then coming up on an inhale, arms up, down the midline, and last one through. Press and lower the hands. Raise the arms. Inhale, exhale. Fold. And with your next inhalation, lengthen the front of the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, drop onto the tops of the thighs. Catch the backs of the calves and push as you lift the butt bones to the ceiling. Oh, my knees are almost straight now. That's, if I did it maybe 20 more times, I could straighten my legs. And then from here, inhaling, lifting up, arms overhead, and exhale down the midline. Alrighty, so that's a really nice way to just get things moving, and I hope you enjoyed that. If you are ready to move on to your practice for the remainder of whatever time you have left to dedicate to asana this morning or this afternoon, whatever time you're doing this, great. If you are done, then we're going to move down closer to the floor and take a couple of quieter poses. First one, which I try to get in every day, is just a bridge pose. And repetitions of bridge are my favorite thing to do to sort of get the spine moving in that direction. So lifting up, move the knees away, open the top of the chest, move the chest toward the chin, and then roll down on an exhale. And again, the weight is more in the heels, so you push into the heels, the knees move forward, open the chest, inhale, and roll down on an exhale. And then one more like that, lift up, guide yourself by the pressure in your feet. So you want to keep the pressure equal in your 2 feet because it travels up all the way to your shoulder blades and the backs of your arms. And exhale and release. So now we'll take a little final easy vinyasa, starting with the legs bent 90 degrees behind the knees, and then drop the legs over to one side. If your top leg is lifted, use your opposite arm to hug it toward the ground. Now my back arm is elevated, but I'm okay with that because I'm going to do arm circles, taking the arm around and then overhead. And maybe your shoulder will touch down, maybe not. And then swinging it around and overhead and back. And I'm turning my head with my arm, and if it's okay for your neck to do that, then do that. Three like that, then coming up, one leg at a time, line yourself up so that the pelvis is in the middle of your mat, roll to the other side. Anchor the top leg, and there's my light arm. And then swing the arm low and around. And down by the hip and up by the ear and all the way around. Last one. And there we go. So from here, it would be the time that you could settle yourself into Shavasana. If you're doing a short practice, then letting yourself be lined up symmetrically. Energize the body at first to feel the firm contact with the floor as the muscles are contracting a little bit. And then let it all go. And when you let it go, notice if there's tendency for one leg to roll out more than the other, one shoulder blade to feel a little lighter. There may not be anything you can do about that, but if you take a few seconds and do little micro adjustments, then you might feel completely settled and symmetrical on the floor. So this is the pose for Shavasana, and the work of Shavasana is for you to have the mind reflect the settled state of the body, which is a challenge sometimes. So you let yourself sink in and let the eyes close, turning your attention inward.